Cure Tinnitus shows and interviews are a member benefit for members of the tinnitus healing and coaching community at curetinnitus.org, where we learn how to heal ourselves from tinnitus from people who've already done it successfully. Our disclaimer is simply that our viewers and members take 100% responsibility for their own health and actions. It's a good choice, it's healthy, and it's required for participation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. We hope you enjoy the path of liberation from tinnitus. Welcome everyone to a very special Cure Tinnitus show. It is my birthday. It was Julian's birthday yesterday. So I had no idea that our birthdays are so close. We're very happy to have everybody watching. The recording has been started. I'll say a little bit about myself for folks who don't know, and I'll introduce Julian. My name is Dinus Mickle. I'm the founder of curetinnitus.org. I am a person who still has a little bit of tinnitus left, and I'm working on letting go and freeing myself of or what I sometimes call taming the mighty tinnitus. And we have Julian Cowan-Hill here, who is a registered cranial psychotherapist. He's got thousands of hours of work in supporting and helping tinnitus clients, and he healed himself entirely of a 20-year bout with long-term tinnitus. So welcome, Julian. Thanks for being with us again.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, it really is. And today the show is going to be very similar in format to the previous shows. We're going to start with questions that I've gathered over the last 2 weeks. We'll address those with Julian, and then we'll do a one-on-one session for everyone's benefit between me and Julian. And then we'll all be able to do either a collective exercise, or Julian will decide by the way that our conversations have gone, how he'll work with me after the personal session. And throughout the show, just keep chatting in. I'll chat, and just chat your questions on over to us as they come up. And viewer feedback and viewer input is always a tremendous addition to our shows. So thanks for those of you who are watching. And I did mention that we were going to announce our recently acquired, some information for folks who have recently acquired tinnitus, and we'll be doing that as the show progresses. But Julie and I put together a product for people with recently acquired tinnitus, and I feel absolutely fantastic about it. It's a series of videos. It's pretty awesome, so we'll tell you more about that later in the show. Okay, so one thing is that on the last show we mentioned the theme kind of for what relieves and what aggravates tinnitus, and that can be a theme for us as well. And I wanted to do a little bit of a recap for Julian. That one's more for me. So let me run to the member questions. Okay. Can we have somebody who visited the tinnitus clinic at the University of Maryland? Now, at the University of Maryland, they recommended various modes of sound therapy-based habituation programs, whether it be a hearing aid, a noise generator, neuromonics. A lot of people have been talking about that. They received a $1 million grant from the American military, and this person describes it as a fancy sound therapy that utilizes classical music and tailored sound therapy. So that's what neuromonics does. These therapies seem interesting, but are very expensive. Are they consistent with the general approach by Julian Cowan-Hill and Dr. Groyle? Are there any negative consequences beyond those to one's finances in purchasing such therapies? And so that would be the first question. So, sound therapy-based habituation program.
Yeah, and just to say immediately, I'm not in a position to comment on that particular approach to tinnitus because I haven't experienced it myself and I don't know much about it. But what I will say is that working with sounds in a very healthy, positive way, using music and allowing yourself to create sounds that you rest in and relax in is hugely beneficial for tinnitus. You know, I have so many clients that come to me and they have developed tinnitus and they've really reacted in a very powerful way to this and become hypersensitive and stop listening to music and are worried about using iPods and all that sort of stuff. In my experience, it's incredibly beneficial to allow yourself to experience what is going on in the environment in a really positive way, particularly music and sounds that are relaxing. Obvious things being relaxing classical music. You know, I have a house with a little stream running outside the window, and that's the most delicious sound to have in the background. And so it makes a lot of sense that a therapy based on creating very specific levels of music or background noise that helps people interact with maybe in a level that's very much tuned into the personal level of tinnitus, that makes absolute sense. It could be incredibly beneficial. But I can't really, I'm not in a position to comment on that very specific approach to tinnitus, but it sounds very interesting.
Well, I mean, it does sound like you're saying that those approaches, you find that, I mean, obviously you're not a practitioner of those kinds of therapies, and that's why you're essentially saying on a particular level you're saying no comment, but on another level you are saying, hey, it sounds like the benefit that you get from the relaxation that it gives you, that's a very positive thing. Would it be then that that leads into the next question from the same member, because this member then continues and says, how does one break out of the checking phase? The internal scenario I'm thinking of is something like this. I've been trying to implement relaxation, refocus, and body-based therapies for a month or so, and my tinnitus hasn't really backed off much. Then mild panic can begin to creep in. Maybe this isn't going to work, blah, blah, maybe some anger or whatever, and then you go, which of course refocuses the attention on the tinnitus and becomes something of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there's someone who's saying, all right, you know, I'm contemplating these sound-based therapies, but then they're pretty stuck in a phase of checking and then being there, and so what is your response there?